Hi everyone, it's Lisa again with an easy holiday craft that I think you'll enjoy. Today we're going to be making either mummy or ghost pots. These are just too cute. I found this idea on a Google search and thought it would be great use of the pots that we have already here at the library, and something fun that you can put out at the holiday that's not too orange and typical fall colors. Some people, I understand, will decorate with a lot of neutrals even through the holidays, which I think is beautiful. And this is one way of incorporating, some fun and a little bit of creativity, a little bit of cuteness to your decor that's also seasonal or holiday related. So let me get you the what you're going to need, the supply list, and we'll get started making these adorable little mummy or ghost pots. The first thing that you're going to need on our supply list obviously is a terracotta pot. These are the little small 4-inch pots. This one was pre-painted. I found it here already painted white, which is perfect. They'll come obviously the terracotta color, which you can easily spray paint with just white spray paint. You're also going to need a bandage roll or gauze that's in the roll. I actually will show you how to conserve just a little bit of this by cutting it into strips rather than using the wide 4-inch roll. So you're going to need some of this. Check your first aid kits, but don't leave your first aid kit without bandages. So if you do use them from your first aid kit, then please replace them with your first aid kit. You're either going to need eyes, the Google eyes, or you can use a Sharpie to put your eyes on for your ghost or your mummy. In this case, I have used fake succulents. I was able to pick these up at Big Lots. I had to think of the name of the store, but they had them really cute ones, really authentic looking. They really do look like succulents. Now, the other succulent that I chose, another one that I found was at the Dollar Tree, and this little thing, and it looks just as good as these, was $1, and that included this little pot, so we could easily use that if we chose to. Excuse me. If you are using the succulents, then you're going to need some Oasis to keep it anchored in your pot. I even used a little bit of fiberfill to kind of fill in the area around the Oasis when it was stuck in the pot. You do not have to use this, but I found it was easier to put the fake moss on. Again, I put moss around the top of mine. You do not have to do that. You could put pebbles. You could put anything you want. You could actually leave it as it is. But I found that this moss was easy to use, and it was also from the Dollar Tree, so this was $1. And then we're going to need some scissors, and we're obviously going to need our hot glue gun because we use it for almost every project that we do. Now, I do want to point out that you do not have to have the succulents. I just thought it was fun, kind of a fun and scary way of using this pot. This pot could be left empty. It could be used to hold candy. Whatever you choose during the holiday season. So keep that in mind. This is extra and does not, it adds to the pot, I think, just a little bit, the decoration, but it's not necessary. So the first thing we're going to do, obviously, I think that was all of our supplies. Excuse me. Is we're going to take, now you'll notice I've already cut this one, so we're going to actually use that piece. If I use this wide, it's too wide. It's going to entirely encompass my pot, and I don't really want to do that. If you'll notice on the back of here, you can actually see spots of the pot, so you can cover it entirely or you cannot. That's entirely up to you and your choice. But I'm going to pull off maybe 8-inch piece, maybe a little bit more, and that's all we're going to use. And I'm actually cutting this into thirds, I should say. That's the proper terminology. And these are not exact thirds. It's just so that my width of my gauze is a little bit more narrow. Easier to work with. So I'm going to cover my pot entirely. Now all you're going to do is we're going to start with my hot glue. And I'm actually just gonna bring it around. You might need to spot glue it, like I'm gonna tuck this to the inside. Use my skewer. You will definitely get burned because this gauze is very thin. And I'm going to do a little spot of it right here to help hold it in place. And we'll go back up the other side. You could probably use other forms of glue. You might be able to use an Elmer's glue on this. You just want it to be able to dry pretty quickly. Now I left on this one like a little peek, a little hole for the eyes to peek through, and that's what I'm going for today. I think right in here is where I'll put my eyes. Oh, excuse me. I've got flying gauze. I'll tell you, between the gauze and the glue sticks, this is a very stringy project. As you can tell, there's no method to this. You just put it, glue it on there wherever you think is best. Now I've got this little opening in between the gauze pieces right here. And rather than putting the little Google eyes on, which you can buy almost anywhere, I think what I'm gonna do is just put 2 dark circles on this pot. But I'm gonna go ahead and do that before I start on the top part with the oasis and the succulents. 2 ovals for the eyes, and that's pretty much all you need, as you can tell there. Okay? And he's looking adorable so far. You can add more of this if you want, please feel free to. I'm just gonna go ahead and, he's kind of matching the other one as far as the amount of gauze I've put on him, so we'll probably stop with this. Now, how did I get this effect? So I have this oasis. Oasis is a material, a faux material that you can put artificial flowers in, and it holds them in place. So if you've ever had an artificial flower arrangement, chances are there's probably some oasis in there somewhere. So I'm going to just stick this down in here. You can reuse oasis. As a matter of fact, this one I'm not gluing it in there. I don't need to. It's gonna stay. And then what I did with my fiber fill is just those little, I'm getting ready to put the moss around it, and it kind of needs something to be hot glued to. So I'm using this fiber fill. Fiber fill is what we fill up pillows with. And I have green. I don't know how I have green. Most of this comes in white. But I had green at home, so we're using it. And I'm just tucking it down in there into the open spaces on my ghost. I'm gonna let my scissors help me a little bit, get that down in those cracks. Okay, so now we have a flat surface for our moss. And let's see, which one of these? I think I'm gonna use this one. And I'm gonna go right down the center. Now, if I were using this one from the Dollar Tree, I would push my Oasis farther down in there and then put this right on top of the Oasis. Now, in that case, you might want to put some glue before you put it down on top of the Oasis so that stays together. And then you could use your fiber fill to fill in all the way around it. Now, he's cute as is, but I really like the moss. So we're going to move all these out of the way. This is very messy. But we, as a crafter, we like mess. So I'm going to take my glue gun and really load it up. And we're gonna lay our moss down. Again, you may need to use your skewer because this is going to be warm. I got this moss at the Dollar Tree. I love it when I find things local, so I do not have to make a big box store purchase, or drive, I should say. I'm not really using a lot of this. Now once you get finished gluing everything, you might need to do a little cleanup for your mummy or your ghost, because he's probably gonna have some moss hanging off of it. And this little guy is finished. He's got one little piece there. There we go. See how easy that is, and look how adorable these little guys are sitting on a shelf in your home, getting you prepared for the holiday. So if you're really into neutral colors, I would suggest using the mummy and the ghost to decorate with, especially with the simplicity of the succulents on the top as well. I hope you've enjoyed this craft. If you choose to try this craft and you make that, please post it to our Facebook account and we will share that. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it, and keep crafting.